$500,000 for a 40-year-old home. $4,790 an acre. Land is not getting any cheaper. I got to share a quick story with you. And he said you can't even get land up there hardly anymore. As soon as a piece of land comes up, it's got 5 offers on it. I had, Missouri, the reason we're going there is the freedom, because it's one of the few places left that we can. Land is getting harder and harder to find in some of these areas. A lot of people that buy land here are not from Illinois. The same thing with a lot of these states. Wisconsin, you got people buying from Minnesota and from Chicago. No, and look at all the stuff going on at the border right now. All them people are coming in. If they don't get booted out, that's just more people. Hey guys, Kapper here. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about land investing. We're going to talk about land in southern Illinois and land in southern Missouri. And I'm going to give you another update on things going on, but I want to make some points on why we shopped in Missouri. I think we're getting a little more bang for the buck, even though we are personally paying at the very high end of land for the new farm, but we did pretty good on selling ours. So let's get into it. Here we are, May 6th. We're waiting on the appraisal. That should be literally in today. And we're trying to get the closing for next week on our Missouri farm. But in the meantime, I'm keeping my eyes open, and that's what I wanted to talk about. So this first one just popped up on one of the 3 sites that I follow. So I'm going to show you what this one is here quick. All right, so here's a new one on Realtor.com. It's a home in 76 acres, and it's a nice looking home for $749,000. Now the reason this caught my attention is because that's what we're going to be asking for our home here when we list it very, very soon. So our home here in Illinois is going to have 22 acres. The asking price is going to be $749,000. So, we got a really nice home here. Ours is a half-mile back off the road. So the 22 actually is going to lay out more like 45 acres just because there's no road frontage. But, yes, honey, Prim's wanting attention. Anyways, lost my train of thought. So for roughly the same price in Missouri, it's about the same size too. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, although it's 1984. It's a older home, but let's look at some of the pictures here quick. Open this up. It looks like it's a pretty home. I think this was one that I did skim a few months back. 76 acres. Older home, wood siding. It looks like ours is obviously only a few years old. Some of the points I want to make is that on the Missouri farm, if I deduct like $600,000 for the home or $650,000, we're still paying about $3,600 an acre for the land over there, which is at the higher end. Although when you start getting the land in the smaller parcels, then you're paying $4,000 an acre, $4,500 an acre. So we sold our land here in Illinois and we got $4,500 an acre. So we did really good on it. And if we're paying $3,600 an acre and we're almost doubling our farm size over there, I do still think in the big picture we're going to do okay in the long run, regardless if we have a market crash or not. So anyways, there was another one I wanted to show you here quick, but this is a nice home, although 84, 94, 04, 14, that's a 40-year-old home. So maybe you're not really getting that much more bang for the buck. Missouri's land has gone up really, really fast. All right, I wanted to show you another one came up. This is one of my searches that's supposed to be 1 hour from Cape. Now this one's only $2,400 an acre. So you could still get land for less than $3,000 an acre. I'm wondering what's going on with this. They just decreased the price down to $345 for 143 acres. And it's an hour and a half from St. Louis, which is about where we're going to be. I just mapped it. For me to drive to St. Louis is like an hour and 38 minutes, give or take. That's from Rolla. We're actually 20 minutes out of Rolla. But this is 143 acres, and it's a nice looking property. Doesn't necessarily lay out the greatest, but it does lay out as an investment property. If you wanted to parcel off a couple up by the road, you could maybe do that. But here's an opportunity at $2,400 an acre. Now, it's probably a lot more rural. They say it's close to a town with all the amenities. The town started with a S. Sullivan, I think. I don't know how big that is. So let's look at the next one. See, here's a new listing. These are the new listings in Rolla. You know, $250,000, $750,000. That's the one we just looked at. You know, $529,000 and with a really small acreage lot. Okay, here's one, Whitetail Properties. This is a new listing, just popped up. This is in Arkansas. Yeah, Huntsville, Arkansas. 167 acres, 1.3 million. Okay, and it looks like it's got a cutout on the property. If you look at this map here, you know, whenever I see a cutout like this, me personally, I'm out. Nope. Zoom in on this here quick. So it looks like there's a cutout. Maybe there's a house or a cabin there that they're probably keeping 5 acres, and then they're selling the rest of it. Let's look at some of these pictures. So there's 167 acres for 1.3 million divided by 167. That's 7,700 an acre. But let's see. It looks like it comes with a home. Yeah, 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. So there again, if you deducted, let's say $500,000 for the home, minus $500,000, that's $800,000 for the land. So then 800 divided by 167, that's still $4,800 an acre for an old home. Another one, this one's built in 1986. Let's look at some of these pictures. Yeah, so I'll give you a treat in just a minute. Got an outbuilding, horse barn, nice. This road reminds me of the one that I looked at in way down southwest Missouri. I really liked it. It was a nice one with the creek running through it. That's what it look. This looks like the same ground. So here again, you know, $500,000 for a 40-year-old home, and what did I say? $4,790 an acre asking price for 167 acres. Land is not getting any cheaper. I got to share a quick story with you. I just talked to a friend of mine, still lives in Wisconsin, in Eau Claire area, Wisconsin. So that's northwest Wisconsin. And he said you can't even get land up there hardly anymore. He said he's got a realtor who's actually looking to buy some land. And he said that as soon as a piece of land comes up, it's got 5 offers on it, sometimes even over the asking price. So when I try to look ahead, I try to predict behaviors and things like that. So looking ahead, you know, Missouri, the reason we're going there is the freedom. It's the freedom thing. It's a much freer state. And in the future, I'll share some particular stories. But anyways, we're going there for the freedom, and we're also going there to try to at least replicate this farm, because it's one of the few places left that we can. So it turns out we're going to buy extra land. We're going to be house poor again, land poor, but that's part of the plan. Where if inflation continues, even if we have a crash for a few years and it comes back up, although we may not have a crash, or we may not have a crash for 2 more years, and we might get another, 10 or 15% appreciation of the Missouri farm before it crashes, then we're still going to be ahead of the game. So if we have to sell a chunk to pay the mortgage down, we'll have that option, and we'll still have a chunk of land. That's a beautiful chunk of land. Look at a railroad car on this one. So anyways, land is getting harder and harder to find in some of these areas, and as we become a more global society, a lot of people that buy land here are not from Illinois. The same thing with a lot of these states. Wisconsin, you got people buying from Minnesota and from Chicago. So it's kind of a global economy, and land, I don't think is ever going to be going back down to cheap land anymore. I really don't, unless we have World War III or a very bad pandemic that like literally wipes out millions of people. No, and look at all the stuff going on at the border right now. All them people are coming in. If they don't get booted out, that's just more people stacked in our country. That's going to increase housing prices. Everything's going to cost more, and land's going to cost more. All right, I'm going to go feed Kitty, but some food for thought when you're looking at land and where you're looking at land and land prices. And stay tuned. Hopefully I'll have an update like any day, like a real update, like, okay, the appraisal's in and we're actually going to close in a week, like a real update. Stay tuned. Thanks a lot.